Thanks, everyone. It's nice to be here. Since we're kind of a small group, I'm just wondering if there are any specific questions you have burning that you want to learn about, or anything that is on the top of your mind that you hope that I cover, or just kind of generally talk about driving retail in the spa. Go ahead.
So I've been talking to you yesterday, I'm in awe because a founder and the work that you do and how you created this beautiful brand. The question I think that we always face when we're in a setting where you're speaking with a spa director who's considering CBD is how they look at the difference between CBD that they can purchase at OTC or CBD that they purchase professionally. How you have the conversation about your ingredients and the more prestige approach than places in a kiosk. Do you get that a lot?
Never. I've never gotten that question. Do you get that? Well, that's really interesting. I think that, in order to distribute widely like that, most companies have to use an isolate. And there is some question around the benefits of using an isolate versus a broad spectrum. So I think that would open up the conversation about sourcing and where you get your CBD from. If you guys don't know, there's basically 3 types of CBD that a vendor can purchase. It's a broad spectrum, which is an extract from the plant, a full spectrum, which is also an extract, and an isolate, which is the isolated molecule of cannabidiol. And most of us, or at least my company, we use a broad spectrum CBD, which means that the constituents, the beneficial constituents of the plant, mostly the whole spectrum of cannabinoids, which are the molecules that give your body the benefit, are extracted from the plant, and the THC, which is the psychoactive component, is removed. So that gives you a really beautiful extract that has a lot of potentiality, a lot of benefits for relaxation, for inflammation, for pain, things of this nature, but without any of the dangers of being psychoactive. And I think when you're talking about large-scale distribution like that, you generally see products that are made primarily with an isolate. There's nothing that I have negative to say about an isolate. Most of the research that's been done has been done with an isolate, because that's the way you control the research, right? So some of the research early on that we saw was around using CBD for inflammation and arthritis, and that's the number one benefit. Hi. So, did you have a question? Oh, go ahead.
But are there different strengths that are used in the treatment room versus a retail take-home product?
That's a good question. I mean, it opens up the question of dosage, right? And what the research shows is sort of a bell curve with regards to the efficacy of CBD. So what it shows is that, people respond differently. And that difference is expressed, based on the amount that they use. And so you recommend that people start with a dose that's average dose on the market and increase over time until they reach a threshold where they feel the most benefit. After that threshold, so there's sort of this theme in the market that more is better, but what the research really shows is actually that once you reach a threshold, the effects diminish. And so unfortunately, it's not like, Advil where you take 2. You actually really do need to discover what works best for your body. And that puts the onus on the consumer, but also on the spa, And so just to circle back to driving retail with CBD, I think that in a spa setting, one of the most important things to drive retail is the education component for your staff. Because when they can speak clearly about it, how many people here say that they offer CBD in their spa, for example? 1. And would you say that you know how to describe, you could describe how it works?
I do facials, and the massage therapists are the ones that do it as an add-on. They do it as an upgrade to their massage. And if people mention it, we've also got Chinese liniments, which is more for sports pain, but they refer to CBD more for relaxation.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was, I was glad that you said pain and inflammation too, because I thought it was tied to that as well.
The number one benefit, if you had to have like your kind of one sentence description for how CBD works, you would say that when you take CBD in your body, it triggers a response that decreases inflammation. And inflammation can be expressed as a difficulty sleeping or pain in your joint or eczema on your face, right? These are all examples of an overactive immune system. These are examples of when your body is trying to balance itself. And what CBD does is it essentially just turns the volume down. And so when massage therapists especially who are really deeply driven by a desire to do good and to be of service and to help their clients, when they understand CBD and they can speak about it, it empowers them in their job, in their career, because it adds to the efficacy of their treatment. And so education is so crucial for driving revenue, even though it doesn't seem, it's not like a shelf talker, you know, which are also important. But when the people using the product understand the good that they're doing, right, and the way that they're helping people, they're so much more inclined to upsell, to drive to retail, to do all these things. I was in the elevator this morning and it said there's a $21 billion settlement with the opioid companies that were involved in, you know, the crisis around addiction and pain medication, right? And this is really the context in which CBD arose. It was really in that context that we saw people looking for CBD to say, wait a second, like we need another option. It's all over the place that there's serious dangers using prescription pain medications. And so when therapists, when estheticians, when spa directors, when owners, when people in wellness understand the benefit of CBD, that it's non-addictive, non-psychoactive, non-toxic, and therapists can just give that elevator speech what the benefit is, that's when you really see the exciting drive in services and revenue. So I'm a huge component advocate for education in the spa setting. Lisa.
Out of like the assortment for what people bring in for retail, is there anything that's just always a bestseller? You know, every spa should bring in this type of product, and how can they best speak to it?
Yes, should I repeat that for the? Yeah, so what would be one of the best products that every spa should carry? And I would say, you know, it's a topical, right? It's a topical cream because the number one benefit for people and CBD, if you want to make a connection between truly addressing a chronic condition that affects people across the nation, it's arthritis. There's like 60 million people with arthritis. I mean, it's like everywhere. It's a degenerative, autoimmune, inflammatory condition, and CBD is the number one benefit, and using it topically specifically targets that. So I wouldn't be a spa and not carry a really quality, extra strength or regular strength topical. And choosing different delivery systems, so whether it's a cream or a salve, you know, that you don't want to do without that. I think that the trend to see CBD in beauty, it's true because it's anti-inflammatory, so eczema, redness, you know, things of this nature, you will see benefit, but I think more and more people are going to understand it for its therapeutic benefits more than as a beauty enhancement. So again, like you want to sort of conceptualize it in terms of an inflammatory condition like eczema or acne or redness or, you know, something where there's an overactive immune response.
Do you find that you still have to differentiate CBD from THC? Because I know when like cannabis became legal in Illinois in January 2020, I then saw more of my spas bringing in CBD because people in Illinois were more educated, I guess, on the difference when that happened. Do you find that that's still a thing?
Is it still a thing that people confuse sort of the benefits of CBD with THC? I find that anybody who works in an industry where they're highly tested, drug tested, is absolutely concerned no matter how trustworthy the brand looks. They don't want to risk it. It's their livelihood. It's their, so that person has to be highly educated about CBD, like take a specific interest in it to feel confident, like pilots or, firemen or nurses, actually nurses know because they do take a specific interest in and they understand that it is safe. You won't fail a drug test. And I was on a panel with Cord. Do you guys know Cord from Zens? And he said, I did not know this, but he said he would have to drink something like 67 bottles of his tincture like every day for some amount of days to potentially not pass a drug test. Like it was some extreme amount he would have to ingest to even kind of potentially put himself at risk. So the risk isn't there, but people do err on the side of caution for sure. Eugene?
Yes. There are a lot of spas who bring in CBD, they test a brand out. But to be really successful with retail, you have to have the majority of the time you have to have a good assortment that hits a lot of the demographics of the people that are coming to your spa. I feel a lot of spas they test a brand out and they kind of stop there. Do you have any recommendations or maybe like some tips on how to successfully bring in a thriving retail offering?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the question is how to sort of diversify your CBD offering to hit different demographics of customers that you serve. I think you guys do a great job sort of vetting the brands that you bring in, and each of us has a little different thing that we offer and different type of person that we maybe speak to. And for example, there are people who do not like scents, and there are people that want icy heat menthol, to feel like it's working. There are people that want gummies, and there are people that would never think of a gummy as a therapeutic application. There are people who are much more inclined to think about it for face and skincare, and there are people that are really looking at MS and serious autoimmune diseases. And so I think having lines that speak really therapeutically, more on the beauty side, have a clinical look or a more luxury look, like those are definitely things to consider. But I always recommend making the conversation to include the benefit of CBD, which is for pain and inflammation. Lisa.
Me?
Yeah.
For like in the treatment room when they're done with the treatment, do you have like a signature line or something you recommend, or when you train your spas, like say this to help increase the retail sales when they're exiting out of the treatment?
Yes. What do you say to people when they leave a treatment room? I think of CBD like Kleenex. It's like everybody should have it in their medicine cabinet because it's non-toxic, non-addictive, non-psychoactive, and it has no side effects, and it's going to decrease the inflammation in your body. So I think every therapist should say, you should, if you take home CBD, if you have CBD at your house, I recommend, that's the word, I recommend that that you have CBD at your house so that you can continue to get the benefits from this treatment over time. And the thing is that when people actually have a positive experience, they really don't need to be sold. They just need to understand what makes a product good. And shoppers are savvy, and usually they trust you because you already bring that trust in the whole experience of your spa. And so what you put on the shelf, people will naturally believe in, generally. But they do want to know, they want to know that your staff understands what it is they're selling you. So again, back to that education piece, it's important. John Paul?
As spa professionals, more therapists, more estheticians should lean into their professional authority and be able to understand that the client, the patient, the person that's coming to them is looking to them with that credibility somewhat inherently, but I think sometimes if they're not as educated as it could be on specific and benefits, things like that, that oftentimes they think about just selling instead of, like you're saying, continuing the experience at home.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, my passion in the industry is sort of continuing to empower massage therapists to see their role as truly transformative, preventative, rehabilitative. This is what massage therapy has to offer people. And I think as spa directors and owners, we have this opportunity to lift them up to see your role is important, and this product can actually increase the perception of your value, right? You're delivering a service that now was good and was therapeutic, and now it's even that much more, and you educated them about something they can do at home, which is in alignment with their interests of why they're paying $100 or $150 for you to touch them intelligently, So yeah, go ahead.
Is it as effective to spot treat an area, or is it way more beneficial when you're doing a full body?
Honestly, the research that I have read has shown that you don't have to put it on the location of the injury, which is surprising to me. And it's done on rats. They put the CBD on their backs and they measure the inflammatory enzymes in the joint. And they see a decrease in inflammation over time when the CBD is applied to the spine. They have to apply it to the back because otherwise they'll lick it off. So they put it on their spine. It's systemic. However, I will say that the feedback we get in our spa is that it works better to put it on topically on the location. So there is a systemic effect, and there is a threshold that needs to be met of CBD to sort of trigger that. But I think because it was illegal so long to do that kind of research, and now with the passing of the Farm Bill, we're going to see a lot more research that'll help us answer those questions. Yeah, so I don't know exactly. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
No questions. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.